recorded, and these will be posted on YouTube sometime tomorrow, well, late tonight or tomorrow probably. I can get started now. All right. So, because there's so many things with Siri, I decided to kind of make sure I had some notes, which I usually don't do with notes on this stuff, but there's a lot of things I just don't want you to miss out because Siri is just phenomenal. She's my girlfriend, and Siri now can have a male voice. Siri, and actually there's two different accounts for what Siri is, S-I-R-I. One account is that it was an application on the iPhone quite a while ago, but it didn't do everything it does, but it was a dictation application and would allow you to do a few things. The guy who started it, Dag Kitlos, explained that Siri means beautiful woman who leads you to victory. That's why she's my girlfriend. In Norwegian, and it was also a name he was saving for his future daughter. But after his first child ended up being a boy, he ended up shelving the name until it came time to use it for his software. The other thing I did here is, and you get Wikipedia one thing, get this thing another, is Stanford Research Institute, which has been around for quite a while, SRI, developed some speech recognition and artificial intelligence for DARPA, the big military thing, and the Siri, S-I-R-I, may have come from that. But I like this one. Apple bought Siri after it had been out a while, the application. The original Siri would say, you could speak to it and then say, open up and paste this in an email or things like that. What Apple did is, once they acquired it, they made it fully integrated into the operating system. So, Siri is more than, it's artificial intelligence and speech recognition. So, we have to wrap our heads around speech recognition first. And do you agree? Have you named your dog Siri? Yeah. So I'm going to just go to a new email. And you'll notice on the screen, on my keyboard, there's a microphone. I'll get my laser pointer. This is what I get in about an hour. So the microphone is on any device that has Siri, which would be any iPad mini, iPad 3, iPad 4, iPad Air, and any iPhone from 4S and newer, regardless of the operating system, okay? It has to do with the hardware. So if you have Siri available on that device, you will have a microphone. You cannot add it to another device. And, people say, well, gee, that's too bad, Apple couldn't do it, but it really has to do with processing power. And secondly, they had to ease into it because the load on their servers in the very beginning was pretty dramatic. So I don't usually use dictation to dictate the name of who I'm sending it to, but I'll just, since we've got Al here, I'll just pick his, and I'll type test. And now when I click in the body, I'm going to tap my microphone. And let's watch what it will do, and let's just see what happens. This is common, quote, speech dictation, closed quote, period. If you speak, comma, it will type for you, period. It types better than me, and it will never misspell a word, period. New paragraph. Pretty interesting, comma, but remember, this is not Siri, period. So I tap the done button. Now, if I did not have internet, this would not work. So, any ideas on how this really works? Think it works all inside here? What's it do?
It sends it out to another server who processes it.
Very good, Mary.
Well, you've said that before. I heard that.
Somebody was listening before, or she's been going over the recordings. So, thank you. This device records what you say up to 30 seconds. It transmits it over the internet to a huge supercomputer in Maiden, North or South Carolina, in the Carolinas that Apple owns. It's $1 billion. It's $1 billion computer complex, and it crunches what I said and sends it back to me in text. So if we think about that for a second, it happens pretty quickly. Let's just try another sentence here. Boy, it works fast! Exclamation mark. I tap done, and look how quick that is. So the reason it's so quick is it's recording my voice. Well, voice, and it can do it at a very low, it's like resolution, bit rate. Bit rate for it doesn't have to have the fidelity of a song. It just takes what it is. It sends that over the internet. That computer crunches it. It consults a dictionary because it will never misspell a word because I may have mumbled a word, so it's going to try give me something and then send it back. And text is very small also. If we were trying to send a video, it would never happen in that quick amount of time. So again, it goes from here over the internet, transcribes it, and sends it back to you. That's why this little chip in here doesn't have to have the brain power to do it. Now, because of that reason, it will not learn your speech patterns. Go ahead.
I thought at one point you said this was Dragon. It's not Dragon, naturally speaking?
Dragon Naturally Speaking or Mac Speech, Mac Dictate is an application for your Mac, but the engine behind this. So Siri is the artificial intelligence part I'm going to get to in a minute, and I'm glad you brought this up, but Dragon Naturally Speaking, Dragon Dictation, Dragon Medical, which are wonderful speech recognition devices, is owned by a company called Nuance. Apple is partnered with them, and that's where the engine that does the speech translation is, okay? So it translates the speech to text, and that's driven by Nuance or Nuance, which is Dragon. Interesting thing is, years ago, Google offered free 411 service on your phone. You would call a one Google or something like that, and you could get directory assistance. But it was all speech recognition driven. And Google, being very smart, used that speech recognition information. You say, give me Home Depot in Carmichael, California. And it used that to learn how to make speech recognition, and that's why the Android devices and even Google Chrome on your browser can do speech recognition, but it's over the internet. But in fact, that's how they learned, rather than using Nuance, that's how they learned people's speech patterns. They no longer have that 411 service, because that was back before we all had connected phones where we could just go to the internet to get addresses and things, or in fact ask Siri to do things. So again, it sends it over and comes back anytime you have the microphone. And I encourage you when you're first starting to learn Siri. Now, how many here have been frustrated with Siri in the past? Those that don't have your hands up probably never used it. If you gave up on Siri back a year or so ago, come back to it. You know, I have an extra chair up here. Well, and I got a bench up here.
No, I'm perfectly fine.
Well, someone else can use this then, and someone else comes in. There's a piano bench up here. We won't make you play, and please don't ask me to. So Siri, when iOS 6 came out and on the first devices, wasn't very good. It's gotten better because not only is it artificial intelligence, it's learning our speech patterns much better, and it works in a multitude of countries. Okay? Good friend of mine who's lived in the US forever, she's been a citizen for 35 years. She is fluent in English, but she speaks with an accent. If we use Siri in Spanish, it works for her perfectly, and she hates that it doesn't work perfectly for her in English. But you know what? I love her accent. It's wonderful. So anyway, so that's speech to text. I encourage you to kind of start with baby training wheels. You start out learning how to dictate by using the microphone, and I'll show you again how that works. I touch the microphone, I wait for it to beep, In fact, let's make sure the volume's up. Make sure you wait for it to beep, comma. Speak slowly, comma, or fastly. It will take what you want, period. That didn't make sense, comma. But just speak at your leisure, and when you're done, comma, press the done button, period. Okay? So, this is the least stressful way to learn Siri. You'll learn to punctuate. If you speak the punctuation, it will do it for you. I have a tendency to try to speak to it in phrases. It seems to make me realize I need to punctuate. But I also have a disclaimer always on my emails here, like this one, sent from my iPad. Please excuse any mistakes Siri might make. She's great, but she might not be perfect. So, of course, it's not my fault at that point. I've absolved myself of anything I say above that in an email. It's like those confidentiality notices that you get in these emails from companies. They say, well, if you're not the intended recipient, don't read that. Well, then how do I read the confidentiality notice? So I'm absolved of anything I say because of that, and I can blame Siri. So, Judy, there's a chair up here if you need it, or... practice with it. Practice, practice, practice. Don't be frustrated with it. Just spend your time. You will learn it, and it's continually getting better. And I only say this because we know that as the devices get smaller, they get harder to type on. I rarely type anymore, and that's a good thing because my brain goes faster than my fingers, and I'm constantly doing typos and things. So with Siri, you may get some mistakes. During the course today, I'll see if I can get a few mistakes. What do we want to do at today's MacNexus class? Period. Question mark. Yeah, I blew that, comma. Oh well, exclamation mark. So you'll notice it does MacNexus. It used to not recognize MacNexus. I would correct it a few times. In this case, I do want to correct it and put it together. So I press and hold and just backspace. And after a while, it may correct it. I'll go down here and try correct the dot there. But I'm trying to get it to give me a mistake because when it does when it does a mistake, or if it's not sure what you said, it will underline it in blue. And when it underlines it in blue, you tap it, and it gives you what other choices it thinks it might be. And if it's none of those, you just type right over it. Oh gosh, you might have to type a word or two. So again, that's speech to text. Now, let's take another component and put it into this. I'm drunk. New paragraph. Will I need a jacket today? Question mark. So, I said I'm drunk, it typed it. Doesn't type it with a slur. And then I said, well, I need a jacket today. So now, we're going to ask Siri that same two things, those same two things.
Siri not available.
You're not on the internet. She's got the male Siri voice. All right, one sec here while I plug in.
And you've disappeared on the...
Yep, I have to, with this program I have to reconnect. Thank you, though. So, let me see. I got to turn the volume up. Siri, can you turn the volume up on this external speaker?
No, I can't.
Hey, we'll tell that to the class. Don't blame me. All right. So now let's try. So to activate Siri, the simplest way, even if your screen is in the lock mode, like this, your home mode, you press and hold the home button. Don't everybody do it, please. Resist. You press and hold the home button until she comes up and wait for her to beep. But when she does, be prepared to start talking. And everybody goes, this is why I want you to use the text part first, because everybody goes, I don't know what to say. And she's taking all that in as you're saying it, and so be ready. But don't be stressed. Learn it the other way when you hit the microphone button and you have plenty of time to start speaking. But let's try this. I'm going to press and hold the home button. I'm drunk.
Neither of us is driving home.
Now, what happens when I do that on my iPhone? I'm drunk.
Just don't breathe on me.
Now, that says call me a taxi on my iPhone because I have GPS on this. So watch what happens when I say call me a taxi.
I found 11 cab companies. Tap the one you are looking for.
Now, in the not-too-distant future, I'm sure those cab companies are based GPS to where we are right now. I'm sure in the not-too-distant future, as these cabs are connected, this will be the closest cab to you because his GPS will be working. Okay? So, now once Siri is up, I can tap the microphone. So what was the other question I was going to ask it? Will I need a jacket today?
The low will be 19 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Tonight. That's what it says. Arden Arcade snow showers. Oh, it still thinks I'm in Yosemite. But it says Arden Arcade. It's because of the GPS in this, so. Will I need a jacket today?
The low temperature will be 19 degrees Fahrenheit today.
It's a good thing I wore long pants today. Okay, so there's something up. But let's pretend. Now, this isn't Siri's fault. She's only as good as the information she's getting. So if I go to weather, let's see. If I go to Yahoo Weather, by the way, this is an app you all should have. It's the best weather app for the iPhone and the iPad. It's fantastic.
It's Yahoo Weather?
Yep, Yahoo Weather. And we'll pull it up here on the iPad. I'll pull it up on the iPhone. Because we're going to see to the bottom of this thing. Yeah, it's mostly cloudy and 55 degrees today in Sacramento. So if you look on the screen, I scroll up, and it gives me the heat index. Goes down here, and look at how at the bottom, see how things come in? They come in from the sides. It's really well done. Sunrise and sunset. And what I really like is it gives you a U.S. radar map. If I hit the X down here, hit the X, I bring up the full-size map, and I can have it do its sequence, you know, in time. But if I tap that, I can also have the satellite of that. So Yahoo Weather, it's free. It's great. And they try to find pictures, because they own Flickr, they try to find pictures from Flickr that are from the local area. So we'll go back to, will I need a jacket today? Okay.
The low temperature will be 19 degrees Fahrenheit today.
All right. Convert 19 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius.
Let me check on that. 19 degrees Fahrenheit converts to about minus 7.22 degrees Celsius.
So you don't have to calculate it anymore. Convert 300 US dollars to euros.
Let me check on that. Here's what I found on the web.
Oh, it usually tells you. I'm sorry. Maybe on the phone it would be different. All right. What's the current temperature in Paris, France?
It's 45 degrees Fahrenheit right now in Paris, France.
Great. All right. So my hands have never left my wrists, and I've not typed anything. Siri has done all of this. So, with Siri, it can do more than type. It can do more than convert things. It can do things like launch Yahoo Weather. Haven't tried this one. There it goes. Now, I have 500 or so apps. It'll launch them if it can do it. I have a couple apps that have similar names, so it has me choose one or the other. First up here, Barb.
Why does it not work sometimes at all? It'll just say can't do this or I'm not available now.
If you're not connected to the internet, she will do that. But occasionally, and again, when you think about what the infrastructure we're talking about is, I've got it here. I've got to be connected to the internet to whoever your internet service provider is. Then it's got to go over here to Apple's computer. Then the computer's got to be on, and then they got to come back. And it's kind of like, why can I not get mail sometimes? Why does Safari not load? It's becoming less and less of an issue. The more you use it, yeah, you find it more and more, but I'm finding it to be less of an issue anymore than it ever was. But always first, check if you have an internet connection. Al, you had a question first?
Yeah, can you get it to open, like, if you want to see, like, if you have a folder on your iOS device.
You don't have folders on your iOS device, really. Oh, you mean a folder?
Yeah, folder, and you want it just to display open up the folder, but not really necessarily launch an app.
You know, I don't know. Let's see if I have any folders. I don't think I do. I do on my phone. Open my utilities folder.
I can't open folders. Sorry about that.
Well, get better.
Say you're driving through Timbuktu and you feel like you want to die in royal, like say like a Gary.
Good. Hang on.
And when the list comes up and you select the one you want, how do you keep from dialing it? You just want the map.
Say, give me directions.
Oh. Okay.
So I'll get to this right now, because it's a pertinent one, and then remind me, and I'll come back over to this question. So, I give the example of find the best sushi restaurant nearby.
I found 3 sushi restaurants. 2 of them are fairly close to you. I've sorted them by rating.
Oh wait, that's sorted by rating. No. Wait, did I say best? I did it the wrong order. So I said best. Okay. Find the nearest sushi restaurant. I usually do it in reverse.
I found 3 sushi restaurants. 2 of them are fairly close to you. I've sorted them by distance.
So contextually, first I asked for near, and then I said best. I'm sorry, I said best, then I said near. Sorry. So the other thing, give me directions to the nearest sushi restaurant.
Getting directions to a rental Japanese restaurant.
So I said directions, and I want to end that. But I can say call. So when the list came up, I could tap them. Or if you're on a headset, if you're in your car and you're on a headset, she'll say, well, do you want me to skip to the next one? So I could say, call the nearest sushi restaurant.
I can't make phone calls.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's on my
device,
iPad.
but I can make a FaceTime call.
Yeah, FaceTime. Call the nearest sushi restaurant.
Calling North Beach Restaurant.
Oh, that's not the nearest. Anybody ever eaten it? Has anyone ever eaten at North Beach Restaurant? I don't know why, and I don't know why it came up, but in fact, that's one of the best Italian restaurants in San Francisco, right by Columbus Park. It's the corner of Stockton and Green and Columbus. It's fantastic, and it's old-timey San Francisco. It's really good. So anyway, that came up. I'm not advertising for them. I don't get a cut.
So Ken, that question I had really relates to what you're doing. How do you, is there like a list of things that you can say, and if you say them in this order, like that, or do you just experiment and then you get to know that?
Tell Siri to call Ken. So it's a great question. It's actually a couple more down my list, but let's do it right now. What can I say? So let's take this and let's look at this a second. And the way I like, Siri is described as your personal assistant. And you have to think of it like a personal assistant. If you're in a big executive suite and you've got someone out there that's your assistant, you wouldn't go say, sushi restaurant! Okay, do you want me to book you a table at a sushi restaurant? Do you want me to call a sushi restaurant? Do you want me to look at a sushi restaurant? You need to give it, and I'm not grammatically correct, give it a verb essentially. Tell it what to do. Call a sushi restaurant. Give me directions to a specific one. Make a reservation. Make an appointment. Okay, all of those things, and you say, what can I say? And it brings them up, and you'll notice that it's hard to read there, but what's the weather for today? Email Emily, remind me, play Nora Jones. So there has to be an action, because otherwise you'll just say, sushi restaurant.
I found
See, that was kind of specific, so she kind of knew.
More like you could ask the concierge.
Yeah, or I like the administrative assistant because it's not just restaurants.
But I'm saying if you...
Oh, in a hotel. Yeah, but you wouldn't have her email for you. So I can say, send Al Tribbett an email.
What's the subject of your email?
Just testing Siri.
What would you like your email to say?
Sorry, Al, comma, you're always the victim of these things, comma. Oh well, exclamation mark.
Okay, Ken, here's your email message to L. Trivet. Are you ready to send it?
Yes, send it.
Okay, I'll send it.
Now, let's take this one step further before I get to your question, Barb. Hopefully this will let me do it. You'll find out. Come on, I charged it up. There we go. Okay. Oh, I got to get back the phone on the screen here. Hang on. Send Al Trivet an email.
What's the subject of your email?
Just testing Siri.
Okay, what would you like the email to say?
Just testing Siri, comma, it should read this back to me. Question mark.
Here's your message to Al Trivet. It says, just testing Siri, it should read this back to me. Ready to send it?
No, cancel.
Okay, I won't send it.
Okay, I'm sorry you couldn't hear that better. This is for me in my shower is what this is designed for. It's okay, she's my girlfriend, right? The reason this is different than using the speaker down here is, you'll notice it, you could vaguely hear it, but it read it back to me. So we first sent an email to Al, and it didn't read it back to me because it's just using the speaker. It assumes you're looking at your device. It doesn't want to burden you with that, nor does it need to. Apple very smartly instituted what's called an eyes-free initiative. And the eyes-free initiative is we want to let you text and email and call people without touching your phone. In fact, without even looking at your phone, without keeping it in the pocket or in the glove box. So it reads, anytime you're using a headset, the little wired headset that comes with it, by the way, if you have an iPhone 5, that's a wonderful headset it came with. It has a little microphone in it. And if you're using your headset, it will read it back to you. This is essentially like a Bluetooth headset. But I couldn't just hold my Bluetooth headset up to you and it would be even worse sound than this thing. So because it has a microphone in it, it says, oh, you're using me eyes free, I'll read it back to you. Okay? It will not do that when you do the simple dictation, okay? Because when we use the little microphone on the keyboard, it assumes you're looking at the keyboard because you're being right there. But anything you type with Siri, it will read it back to you. And also that's where you'll get the thing where it says, I have a list of 3 sushi restaurants. Does this one look good? Or it'll give the name and you can say skip to the next one. Or what it in fact does, it defaults to the first one on the list and we'll just start giving you directions. So again, a Bluetooth headset, a wired headset, anything that has a microphone in it, if it's attached to your device at that time, it will read back to you what it types and give you more information like that. Go ahead.
Is that both phone and iPad?
I believe so on the iPad too. I do it most on the phone than anything, but it should, because you just can't make phone calls with it, and that's about it. Question?
I noticed you responded yes, send, or no, cancel. Can you just say send?
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Yes, you can. But what happens in my car, because there's a lot of outside road noise, me cussing off other drivers and things like that. So I say both just to give it more affirmative. And sometimes it doesn't even get it, because what it does, I have an aftermarket Bluetooth in mine. I simply tap a button on my dash and it fires up Siri. I never have to touch my phone or anything. I do have my phone mounted right next to my air vent. So when I'm using it as a GPS, it's much better, but I still never have to touch the thing. So I'm completely legal in that regard and can send emails and texts. Theoretically, I can have it read internet sites for me too, but that's a whole different thing. Anyway, so I do that to give it a second affirmative, and if neither of them work, you just simply hit the button that says send or cancel. Okay?
Thank you.
Can she locate apps for you and install them?
I don't think she can search the App Store yet. Now, if you go to the App Store, let's just show you what happens. Oops. Oh, I should say. Launch the App Store. Play the Jeopardy theme song. Okay, so I'm in the App Store. Now when I have the search window up in the top up there, I can use my keyboard here and say navigation. So anywhere I have a keyboard, I can tell it, but I can't tell it to search the App Store for a certain thing, I don't think. Let's see. Search the App Store for navigation apps. So
Okay,
web search only. Web search only. Okay. So I can say, search the internet for best iPhone navigation apps.
Okay, I found this on the web.
Okay? All right. So, Barb,
When you make a mistake with Siri,
blame it on her.
yeah, but can you correct it before you send the text or the email?
Yeah, let's try that. Send Al Trivet a text message.
Okay, what do you want to say to Al Trivet?
Oh well, comma, I'm really going to mess this one up, period.
Ready to send it?
Edit.
Oh.
Okay, what would you like the message to say?
Be careful when you say, oh, Siri might include that in the message, period.
I updated your message. Ready to send it.
Add.
Okay, What would you like the message to say?
I don't know if this will add to it. I think it just edits. Supposedly there's a way you can do it, comma, but I don't know, period.
I updated your message. Ready to send it.
Cancel. So it did. It add. So
Okay, I won't send it.
we edited and we added. But let's try it a different way if you're using it at home. Send Al Tribbett a text message, just testing Siri.
Ready to send it?
See, I tapped on the message on my screen, and now I can come up here and I can edit it right here. So when the message was on my screen without sending it or anything, I tapped in the body of the message. And now I can edit it by text, or by typing or using dictation or correcting. Is that clear? Want to see that one again? Okay. Sorry, I have to use my fingers. Send Al Tribbett a text message.
Okay, what do you want to say to Al Tribbett?
So you say what you want it to say, comma, and then when she's ready to send it, comma, you will tap where that message is.
Ready to send it?
I tapped right where that message was, and it brings it up for me. Okay? So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I think there may in the future be some sort of correction type things that will become available. Sure?
Would this add and edit be the same with emails?
Yes. So the question was, did add and edit be the same with emails? Yes. I'm just using text message because it's not going to prompt me for a subject at that time.
Okay, where was he tapped on?
I'm sorry?
Where was he tapped?
When the little message came up, it looks like a speech bubble.
Okay.
Tap right in the middle of that speech bubble. Okay?
Can
Yes.
you ask her to read it back to you?
I don't think so. Let's try. Send Al Tribbett a text message.
Okay, what do you want to say to Al Tribbett?
Just testing Siri.
Ready to send it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll send your message.
And I'm going to have you reply to that in 1 sec, Al, if you don't mind, but hang on 1 sec. Send Al Tribbett a text message.
Okay, what do you want to say to Al Tribbett?
We'll see if I can read it back to me.
Ready to send it?
Read me that message.
Your message to Al Tribbett says, we'll see if I can read it back to me. Ready
Great.
to send it?
Cancel. Great job. Thank you, Marilyn. Had you done that before, or was that a WAG, a wild ass guess? Good job. I like that. So she'll be teaching class next month. Oh, I better cancel because.
Okay, I won't send it.
So Al sent me a text message back. So read my most recent text message to me.
You have a message from Al Tribbett. Great class. Happy face with sunglasses. Happy face with sunglasses. Happy face with sunglasses. Would you like to reply?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, what do you want to say to Al Tribbett?
That was great. Thanks for the smiley face icons. It worked out well, period. So now you know what?
Send it?
Yes, yes.
Oh, look,
Now I did a little
Okay, I'll
preview.
send your message.
What?
look what it did to the smiley faces.
It made a smiley face.
Oh, I said smiley face. Yeah, she does that. She'll do caps and different things. There's different, she do open parentheses, close parentheses. You can do open quote, close quote, or quote and then close quote, things like that. So
How do you get it to capitalize something? Like if you said, this is
say
Mary-
cap.
This is Mary Howard, the soaring eagle capital. It'll capitalize eagle, but it will never capitalize soaring. It'll never capitalize capital. So how would I?
This is Mary with cap soaring, cap eagle properties.
How do you say?
Sorry.
Made a mistake.
So you can also create shortcuts for those things. both in your iOS device and there, and you could have like SEP, and anytime you type SEP, it'll do it, and you may be able to tell it to do that. It's a text expander thing, but that's a whole different thing that's not Siri. So, go ahead.
My 11-year-old nephew came running in my guest bedroom and he said, "Look, Siri said, say something to Siri." And I said, "No, I don't have time now. I must take a shower." And then Siri said, "Here are 21 steps for taking a shower."
I don't have time now. I'm taking a shower.
I thought not.
I couldn't turn her off. She just kept saying, "Oh."
Because you said shower. And you have the male voice on yours too. Oh, okay.
But if there's a male asking about a shower, it's going to be about 4 steps.
Or if it's the female, it says, "Did you wash behind your ears?"
But how could I have shut her off?
You just tap the home button. Tap the home button is how you let Siri rest, let's say. We don't want to turn her off, because I hope you're starting to see how Siri can really help. She is a great assistant. And the time, okay, we all started out, and I think I might have said this in my president's column, we all spent time, or most of us spent time trying to learn to type. And it was like walking on needles. I mean, I had just, but it helped in the long run. The time you invest in Siri will be manifested over time dramatically, because believe me, this is the ultimate interface. When you have a little fit thing on your wrist or something like that, and you say, "Please call mom," we're going to look like the Secret Service guys talking to their cuff, and that's going to be your input. The input device will be the microphone that's connected to your, I say computer on your hip, which is your iPhone, because your iPhone's a fantastic computer, which will then be connected to the supercomputer over in North Carolina. So when you start leveraging all these different parts of that, you can see what there is. It's amazing. You know, it can come up and say, "Oh, you know, your car's low on gas. Here's the nearest gas stations." You can do that. It was just announced yesterday at the shareholders meeting that Mercedes, Volvo, Ferrari, so a reason to go buy a Ferrari, they've all they're putting iOS in the car. And what iOS in the car is that your iPhone will be connected by Bluetooth to your car, and it will be your navigation screen, it will be your music screen, it will be all of this. So rather than just being connected by Bluetooth, it is actually going to be the display. Your iPhone is the on-ramp for all this world of information that's out there, and it will be able to go to the car. And there's quite a few car companies, Hyundai's getting ready to do it, and some of the others. I mean, Bluetooth is just the baby step to get us to where we need to be. We had a question up here first.
Ken, I keep getting errors. I'm trying to find, like the other night, Watt Avenue. And
What?
I was trying to find
What? So, yeah, it's difficult to do words that are kind of strange like that. Well, let's take it for instance. We have one in Sacramento, Don Julio Drive. Do you know it's not Don Julio? Because it's Italian and not Hispanic, or not Latin, or not Spanish. So it is Don Julio. Now, La Jolla down in Southern California. So
how do you overcome that?
give me directions to 2361 Watt Avenue.
Getting directions to 2361 North Avenue.
Certain things you won't be able to, but were you trying to find directions to a place? So why don't you just ask it where the place is?
I think I tried that. Farrell's ice cream parlor.
It's fairly new, but give me directions to Farrell's ice cream parlor. And how was it?
Sorry, I don't know where that is.
Find the nearest ice cream parlor. Got to remember, it's what, a few months old?
I found 5 ice cream shops. 3 of them are fairly close.
There it is. On what avenue? All right, so it's not foolproof. It does, though, just like when I said call me a taxi, it does take into context where you are, which is really useful. But I can say, find In-N-Out Burger in Elk Grove.
This restaurant named In-N-Out Burger is in Elk Grove.
So see, but if I say, find In-N-Out Burger.
This restaurant named In-N-Out Burger is a little ways from you.
So see, that was based on where I am. The other one is I told it to look within that area. It always defaults to where you are unless you tell it different. So while I've got that up, I'm going to show you one quick thing here. Then I'll get to your question and then yours. Give me directions to Sacramento International Airport.
Getting directions to Sacramento International Airport.
Internet's a little slow. So, okay, so it's going to give me voice-guided turn-by-turn directions. But let's do this. Let it finish here. Find the Apple Store on my route.
This Apple Store along your route is a little ways from you.
Find In-N-Out Burger on my route.
This restaurant along your route named In-N-Out Burger is a little ways from you.
How long till I get there?
You should arrive in about 24 minutes.
That's to the original destination. Okay.
Not if you go to the Apple Store and In-N-Out.
Good point. How much longer will it take if I go to In-N-Out Burger? I don't think she'll do it.
You should be there in about 24 minutes.
See, Siri says I can do it in the same amount of time, so I'll stop by In-N-Out on the way. I think it's a little early for In-N-Out, but okay. So first, I've got a question over here, Judy.
If I enter my address under contacts, with my name and address, can I say to Siri, if I'm lost, take me home?
Take me home.
Getting directions to Ken Spencer, home.
Now, if you also have a work address in there, you can say, take me to work. Okay, there's the directions there. And it starts automatically no matter where I am. Because your device always knows where you are. So it knows from current location, how do I get there? Okay, over here first.
Once you've asked for directions to a certain location, will it automatically give you verbal directions all the way there? You have to ask.
As long as you have, now correct me, does the 4S do it?
Yeah.
So any device that has Siri will do it. If you have an iPhone 4, you can't use Siri to do it, and it won't give you voice-guided directions. So, but the voice-guided directions are wonderful, and in fact, again, I have a wonderful mount, a Garmin mount they've just come out with that I have my phone mounted there. But to be honest, the voice directions it gives you is probably less confusing and better than doing it. You know, you got like where 50 and 80 or 50 and 5 merge going north on 5, you know, there's 2 little splits. It'll say, go to the right, and let's say you're going south. It'll say, now get to the left, and it knows where you are, and it's pretty darn accurate. It is sometimes slightly behind, so listen to it. It'll tell you in advance, so be ready, but it sometimes, and it's going to get better there. But I got to tell you, I go out and shoot sunset photos. Anybody know where Mather Lake is, the old Mather Golf Course?
Yeah.
I go shoot photos past Mather Golf Course. That's Zinfandel now, or it's Eagle's Nest. Actually ends after those the cutoff for Mather housing. It ends right there, and it's where the old ammo bunkers used to be. And I'll go shoot sunsets there all the time. And the road on the map goes through to Kiefer Boulevard. But it's about like a Jeep trail between where I am and Kiefer Boulevard, because they don't want to use it as a throughway. And I'll be out there, and I'm setting up, and I hear this car coming. You hear there's this little sign that says road ends 700 feet or pavement ends 700 feet. And then boom, 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 boom. The little brake lights come on and they're like, I'm going, oh yeah. Another GPS, but every GPS does it. I've reported it to Apple to say, because you have a spot where you can report problems and have it fix it, but it hasn't yet. But the GPSs take you that way, and it's. I feel bad. I'm not going to sit there and wave the people down though. So, over here and then you, Cheryl.
Can you ask Siri to do a number of stops, like go to Farrell's, go to the
I don't think so yet, and I haven't played with that much. But by the way, you can actually now we have Apple Maps on our Mac, and you can then get the directions on your Mac and then say send it to my phone, and it sends it and automatically shows up on your phone.
Where?
Yeah, Cheryl.
Sometimes I feel that the voice on the directions is a little too late.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So, but she'll tell you at 2 miles until. So listen to the original prompt and be ready. But yeah, I think, and that's a function of, I think they're going to adjust that a bit. But they don't want to do it too soon because what happens inevitably is, I'm not going to take that one, but it tells you too early, it takes an earlier one. So that's a little bit of a tweaking issue that they have to do. Bart?
Will you be going over at some point how you establish on your contacts?
No, that'll be in a contacts class. I might, if I get time at the end, remind me, but there's a ton to cover on this. But you can you can take someone in contacts and I can tell Siri to say, Gordon is my brother, or make Gordon my brother, and then I just have to say, call my brother, or call my mom, things like that. So going forward with that, so we're going to use my iPhone here for a second. Go ahead.
When you ask it to go home, how does it know to go to your home?
Because I'm in my contacts, I have done a thing called My Card, and that's important to do. So go in and put yourself in your address book and then make it a My Card. If we have time at the end before we go into that, we'll go ahead and do that. So just remind me at the end and I'll try to do that. But you should establish, when you first set up your device, it asks you to enter that information, but you say, I don't want anybody to have that. Because it's also important to have that information because if you go to a website, it'll autofill all your address and everything for you. So it's important to establish the My Card, it's called. And I do contact classes with that. So I'm going to go to my phone right now. We don't really need to hear too much because I don't want to disconnect everything. But this is a computer that happens to make phone calls. And it's the best camera in the world if it's the only camera you have with you. And it's the best iPod in the world. And it's a lot of things. But it still is a phone. So if I'm going along and I want to say, gosh, who can I call? Who? Call Barb Worrell. I just won't let it go through. That's fine.
I don't see Barb Morell in your contacts.
Call Barbara Worrell.
Which phone number for Barbara Worrell?
iPhone.
Calling Barbara Worrell. iPhone.
Okay. So she's in my contacts, right? So I'm just going to end that. But let's just say you see a billboard up there. How to make $1,000 per hour at home on your computer.
You've been putting those up?
Call 1-800, this is a scam. But let's just dial a number, and all I do is say, call 916-631-9838.
Calling 916-631-9838.
So that wasn't in my address book. Come on, end call. Okay. So I told it to call that number. I can also say call the Apple Store in Roseville, do things like that. Anything I can search for, if it has a phone number, I can tell it to do it. So you don't feel like you have to have everybody in your address book. I could say call the nearest Home Depot. Many times you want to do that to find out what time they close or something like that. Okay, so it's easy to make calls. To call a contact, you simply say call that contact. Although I have one, like we talked about, Watt Avenue is hard. I have one contact that has 2 single-syllable names. Ann Young is her name. It doesn't differentiate that very well because they're very short single-syllable names. So you can create a nickname for the person. I'll use a friend of mine that we affectionately have a nickname that was a joke a long time ago. I'll say, call Schnitzel.
Which phone number for Jerry Shelton?
So it says his real name, but I have a nickname set up for him called Schnitzel, and I use it. And he and his wife were in this class one time. It was pretty funny. All right. So I said when you're using dictation and you want to do numbers, if you say 1 and you say 6 and then you say 12, you see how it treats it? But I said numeral 1 and then you say numeral 6 and then you say numeral 12. So if you want to type it out, which is the grammatically correct way to do it, it will type it out. If you say 156, it'll do 156. But if you want it to be the digit, you say numeral. What do we break it? 1020, is that right? Okay. So dictation and Siri will both handle that the same way because realistically, Siri just gets you to your mail and then it's simply dictation after that. But I want to pop in a couple things right now. At 10:20, remind me that it's class break.
Here's your reminder for today at 10:20 a.m. Shall I create it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll remind you.
So, before I get into reminders, we're going to go to calendar. And if I go to calendar on my iPad, I can see that tomorrow's kind of busy. So I'll say, and remember, I've got to give it an action. So calendar, I'm going to say schedule. Schedule test tomorrow at noon.
Okay, I can create your meeting.
Thank you.
Note that you all overlap with this. Shall I schedule it anyway?
No.
To continue, you can confirm, cancel, change the time, or change the title.
Cancel.
All right, Ken, I'll leave it off your calendar.
In the old Siri, you used to say, okay, you're probably too busy anyway, and that was gratifying to me. I only had 4 appointments on there, so that was... So, again, what we did is we said, schedule. Oh, you want to make an appointment. Schedule test for a certain time. Now, you have to be careful. And this is a weird protocol, and I missed an appointment because of it. If I say to you, let's schedule a meeting next Tuesday, who thinks it means this coming Tuesday? Who thinks it means Tuesday a week after that? That's the traditional protocol. I hate it. I think it's an East Coast thing. But if I say this Tuesday or Tuesday, it'll be in 3 days. If I say next Tuesday, it goes. Let's try it. Schedule test next Tuesday.
What time is your event?
10 a.m.
Okay, I can create your meeting. Note that you already have an all-day event about us on March 11, 2014. Shall I schedule it anyway?
Change time.
Okay, Ken, what's the new time and date for this meeting?
This coming Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Okay, I can create your meeting. Note that you already have an all-day event about us for Tuesday. Shall I schedule it anyway?
No, cancel. So, that was enlightening to me.
That's
I've not seen it.
I'll leave it as it was.
I've not seen it documented anywhere. But you can say Tuesday, which would be the next occurrence of Tuesday, or you can say this Tuesday, but if you say next Tuesday, it skips. Is anyone used to that protocol? Raise your hand if you are, if that's a common way that you would do it. Sorry, but I'm sure there's some protocol to that. I could say Tuesday a week and a half from now. Go ahead, Bart. So Bart's question is, can I say make an appointment? Yes, I can. What I find is sometimes, though, when I say make an appointment, or if I say schedule an appointment, it puts in appointment. Schedule an appointment for this coming Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Okay, I can create your meeting. Note that you already got... All right, Ken, I'll leave it off your calendar.
So appointment was the event. So make an appointment this Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Okay, I can create your meeting. Note that. Okay,
See,
then, I won't create the event.
The appointment means what you're doing instead of test, schedule the dentist, etc. So you have to say schedule.
Can you ask Siri, tell me all of my meetings today?
Yeah. Give me all my meetings today. I know it will tell you the next one.
Okay, Ken, I found 5 meetings for today.
What's my next appointment?
You have 2 appointments today at 4 p.m.
Okay. So we had it read our most previous email, or our most recent email, or a text message, it'll do that. It'll read your appointments. It'll say, the other thing that's really neat, once you start integrating your calendar, and if you use people in your contacts and stuff, when you, I know, but it was supposed to be classroom break. It didn't take that. Maybe the break was that. And it's not going to do 2, 2, and 2. Okay? So I'm going to do a couple questions here, and then we're going to learn about reminders right after the break and notes. So go ahead, Keith.
So would it do the same thing for months? If I say schedule an appointment for me the 1st of next month, does that mean May?
No, because that would be the first of, let's see. Schedule an appointment the 1st of next month at 10 a.m. It's going to do appointment.
Okay, I
April.
can create your meeting. Note that you already have 2 appointments. All right, Ken, I'll leave it off your calendar.
So it did take it to the next month. It's only this day of week thing is the only way I've found that. And I just like to point it out because you could show up a week late. Hey, how's that party? Oh. But you know what? Just blame Siri. Any other questions before we have our break? We got a lot to cover. Let's try to do a break in about 10 minutes if we could. I'll try to set up my camera for right after the break. Thank you. So you guys, the recording's going to be in 3 parts this time because it failed on me partway through. So, yeah, I'm stopping it right now. I'm going to try to. There it is.